Hello and thank you for joining us on the news on NTA International. I am Lami Ali. The headlines. President Buhari departs for Ethiopia ahead of 33rd Ordinary Session of Heads of State and Government of AU. Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption says corruption fight will continue. And new petroleum industry bill underway as the Senate begins consultation with executive arm of government. And now the details. President Muhammadu Buhari has left Abuja for Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, for the 33rd Ordinary Session of Heads of State and Governments of African Union. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports that the president was seen off at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by his Chief of Staff Abba Kyari, Minister of State for FCT Ramatu Tijani, Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu, and other senior government officials. President Buhari, accompanied by the governors of Imo and River State, will join other African leaders as the summit beginning on Monday with the theme Silencing the Gun, Creating Conducive Conditions for African Development. The president will, before the summit, attend the 29th Forum of Heads of State of Government of participating states of the African Community Mechanism, as well as the 27th session of the new Partnership for Africa's Development Heads of State and Government Orientation. President Buhari receives at the end of the summit. President Muhammad Buhari will commence a state visit to Ethiopia as the invitation of the Ethiopian Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed. President Buhari is expected back in Abuja on Wednesday, February 2020. And before President Muhammadu Buhari departs for Ethiopia, he interacted with a delegation of the All Progressives Congress from Kano State, which comprises of those that were successful in the recently concluded elections in the state, led by the governor, Umar Ganduje. The president, in his remark, assured that the separation of powers notwithstanding, he has enough grounds in the Constitution to ensure that the security of Nigerians is not compromised. President Muhammadu Buhari advised the delegation to live up to their electoral promises and uphold the integrity of the APC. State House correspondent Jide Unifade reports.
It's a warm congratulatory handshake from President Muhammadu Buhari as the president welcomes the delegation to the presidential villa in Abuja.
Credibility.
After this warm reception, it was time to speak truth to the winners of the elections and by extension to all political office holders in the country.
Be very conscious of what you do so that your constituencies will maintain confidence in you individually. This is very important, and it's very important for our party.
The president emphasizes the need for everyone to work for peace and stability of the country and towards ensuring that the welfare of the people is a priority.
I am here by the Constitution, I swear by it, and I'm going to stand by it. But let me tell you, the bottom line of my understanding of my constitutional role is the peace and security of all Nigerians.
Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje expresses gratitude to the president for the numerous federal projects in the state.
So we have three other important requests. First is the completion of Kano River irrigation scheme. 2, we require federal medical center in Kano. 3, desilting of our 24 dams in Kano State.
The governor also sought the support of the federal government on the implementation of the reforms in the state's education system. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
The Supreme Court has dismissed the appeal filed by the former governor of Taraba State, Jolly Nyami, challenging his conviction by the trial and the appellate courts for misappropriation of funds. The verdict of the five-man panel of justices delivered by Justice Amina Ademoge held that the appeal lacked merit. Olabode Arewa has the reports.
The court have said that the trial and appellate courts were right in the conviction and sentencing of former governor of Taraba State, Johnny Yame, for embezzling 1.6 billion naira and receiving of gratification. In the light of this, the Apex Court upheld the 12-year jail sentence of the appellants. The Apex Court, however, set aside the 100 million naira fine imposed on Yame by the appeal courts.
The lordships have ruled, and this is the final court of the land. We take it. There's nothing we can do.
That is enough to serve as a deterrent to all other people who probably may want to also think of committing similar offenses, to know that there will always be consequences.
Johnny Yame was convicted on 27 counts charge, while 13 counts against him were dismissed by the appellate courts. Johnny Yame, who was the Taraba State governor between 1999 and 2007, was convicted by an FCTI court on the 30th of May 2018. The conviction of the trial court was upheld by the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja on November 16, 2018. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Now, the presidential advisory against corruption says the war against corruption will be maintained as the committee is taking the fight to local government areas after the prosecution of cases at the federal level. The chairman of the committee, so far, 12 states have been visited with a view to taking the fight against corruption.
Tremendous progress has been made in the anti-corruption war. So there can be no way, no question of their recording a reversal, which they try to state. We have made a tremendous leap forward, as I always say. Yes, corruption is still there. It will take a long time to completely eliminate it. But much progress has been made, and any honest organization, any organization that intends to be transparent, as they call themselves, really should acknowledge that. We'll continue working. In fact, the major thing we are going to do is to compile the records for the world to see that we are making progress. And we are going to also start looking at various organizations which have a tendency to be corrupt, where corruption is embedded.
The report that the committee's operation is supervised by the Vice President, hence the regular meetings. Professor Isesage expressed confidence in the person of the Vice President and is a loyal co-pilot of the country's. Now to the legislature. The President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, says the National Assembly has started consultations with the executive arm of government on a new version of the petroleum industry bill to be introduced into the National Assembly. Senator Lawan made the disclosure to the
was passed. Eventually, at the end of the day, it wasn't signed. So we came up with a new idea in the 9th National Assembly that the fact that the executive tried to go it alone by just drafting a bill and bringing it here for 2 tenures, and then the legislature also tried to do it on its own way, and none saw the light of the day. This time around, we should actually interact more, we should collaborate and partner more, even before the bill is born. Let the bill that will be the petroleum industry bill be of the executive and the legislature. And that means starting to work on the bill from the scratch between the executive and the legislature. And we are in consultation already, and by the time that we are able to fashion out the bill, our committees will spring into action, and we believe that this time around we'll break the jinx. This 9th National Assembly should be able to pass the petrol industry bill. We believe that we need a lot of investment in our oil and gas sector.
No nation with a mono economy is likely to generate enough resources to bring about the desired developments to its people. This informs a memorandum of understanding between the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies and the Nigeria-Vietnam Chamber of Commerce towards diversifying Nigeria's economy. The aim is for NILS to enhance the capacity of Nigerian legislators to make favorable trade legislations that will ameliorate the challenges faced by the people. Director General of NILS, Professor Abubakar Suleiman, signed on behalf of the Institute, while the President of the Nigeria-Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Oye Akinsimoy, signed for his organizations.
We feel happy to go into this collaboration with the NILDS. We hope it will be a good thing for our country, Nigeria.
We cannot continue to rely on oil as the mainstay of our economy, thinking that we can sustain developments for years to come. And that is why such things as commerce, trade, relation are very key to national development.
The visit is also to invite NILS to participate in a summit in Vietnam, which is expected to generate useful information to be passed to the National Assembly in form of bills, motions for the advancement of trade relief policies in Nigeria. The Federal Inland Revenue Service says Nigeria is losing about $10 billion of tax through illicit profit shifting by multinational corporations operating in the country, which otherwise would have been applied to critical infrastructural development by the three tiers of government. Executive Chairman of FIRS, Muhammad Nami, disclosed this at the commencement of the 2020 Management Retreat of the service in Abuja. Kenneth Nanim monitored the events and now reports.
Africa Union Illicit Financial Flow Report indicates that Africa is losing $50 billion through illicit profit shifting by multinational corporations, and about $10 billion of this amount is from Nigeria alone. And the service is on the move to block these leakages.
We have agreed with my team that in the next 4 years, we will improve our performance on a long-term and sustainable basis. We have given ourselves a minimum target of $5 million staff to revenue ratio and 10% tax to GDP ratio.
In a message, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, urged the FIRS to leverage on the provisions of the finance bill signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2019 to enhance financial propriety for national development.
The first step the federal government has taken is to conserve revenue that has come in by introducing measures that will cut costs in governance. The next is to rev up our campaign to generate more revenue by expanding the base.
We must appreciate the fact that taxation is virtually the most sustainable source of revenue for the government.
Development partners in the financial sector pledged continued support to the FIRS to achieve its mandate, relying on the reforms in Nigeria's tax system to meet global best practices.
We are confident at ICANN that the future of the country's tax system is bright.
The entire exercise of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, if the government does not have the fiscal resources to invest in Nigerians and invest in infrastructure, that dream won't be realized.
I urge the service to create an environment that would foster closer collaboration with relevant stakeholders in the Nigerian tax system.
With the level of reforms in Nigerian tax system, there is a need for stakeholders to have goal congruence. This opportunity is therefore a welcome development.
The retreat is also giving attention to specific targets for the service in the next 100 days in office for the new chairman. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you live from our studios in Abuja. More reports after the break.
That channel where you watch just now don't waka, no panic.
There's me no panic.
You go do it by yourself like ABC. Oh yeah, press the menu button on top your remote. Scroll up and down till you see Information Central. Then press OK.
Press OK.
Check the signal strength and quality. If the signal strength and quality pass 70, make you press the exit button, go back. Go advanced options, then choose installation, then go to reset and press OK.
Press OK.
Wow, now you self fit catch all those channels wey be one miss road by yourself. Yes, make your group for no loss. You see as I do am, abi?
And I see as I do am.
Go TV, live it, love it.
Thank you for being there. The Federal Inland Revenue Service is set to leverage on NTA's reach to effectively provide enlightenment for Nigerians to appreciate payments of tax for nation building. Already, the machinery is in motion with the visit of FIR's Management Board to NTA, led by the Chairman, Mohammed Nami. Benny Adams reports.
From assumption of office a couple of months ago, the nation's chief revenue collector, Mohammed Nami, has been on his feet, meeting all that matter in the quest to increase the revenue figures of the country, coming from dwindling fortunes being recorded lately. NTA is the latest point of call for the new FIRS management, and the mission is to advocate stronger collaboration for enlightenment of Nigerians to be faithful to their obligation of tax payment. The Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, reminded FIRS of the challenge ahead, but was quick to add that, despite NTA being partially commercialized, NTA remains alive to its social responsibility to Nigerians and will do whatever it takes to help grow the economy.
Our reach is second to none, in Nigeria. So we'll work assiduously with you, as members of the same family, that is the federal government family, to ensure that your tenure, becomes a very resoundingly successful one.
The board used the visit to also discuss the ongoing Africa Tax Administration Forum, where a new strategy for taxing the informal sector is in the offing.
People that are not in the tax net are actually brought to tax net using technology, employing kind of intelligence and collaboration with entities like NTA.
Some of the things that we're looking to do as a board is also ensuring that we have different tactics for different sectors.
The informal sector in Africa is set to account for up to 90% of GDP in some countries. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Moving on, for governments to serve its citizenry better, there is need to review its policies and programs periodically to address present realities. This was the submission of experts during the validation of 6 federal government policies by the Bureau of Public Service Reforms. Haman Jabani has the story.
Mid-year in 2019, the Bureau for Public Service Reform commenced survey on 6 government programs, which include Treasurer's Single Account, Induction Program, Presidential Executive Order 005, ICT Reforms in Public Sector, Open Government Partnership, and Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. Seeking information from the public on these policies is to draw lessons, how it has been, should they be sustained, what should be done to make them better, and how has the policies changed governance and service delivery.
We are developing policy briefs and documents that will guide the Federal Executive Council and government on how to rejig, improve, or step down some of the reform initiatives. We have seen that there are problems around TSA. The first problem is sensitization and communication. The second one is how to get the states to key into the reforms initiated by federal government so that generality of Nigerians will get the benefits beyond FCT.
Despite the success recorded through the policies as a nation, stakeholders say the findings shows that Nigerians are ignorant about government policies and they have no input in such policies.
As government is putting in policies, as donors are putting in monies to make sure that, things are opened up, government is opened up, all the officers at the MDA should, as much as possible, open up.
With this development, key players say there is need for citizen participation in policy formulation for easy acceptance and implementation. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Now to security matters. It is said that security is everybody's business. Worried by the worsening security situation in the country, the Conference of Civil Society of Nigeria is advocating civil-military cooperation in the areas of intelligence gathering, identification and information networking to augment what the federal government is currently doing. Ubuagili Ugoke reports.
Nigeria Security Tracker revealed that violent activities in Nigeria have resulted to the death of about 7,253 Nigerians, a record generating a lot of concern. The Conference of Civil Society Organization of Nigeria is engaging stakeholders, particularly non-governmental organizations, to chart the way forward in tackling all the security challenges in the country. Banditry, terrorism, indiscriminate killings have created a huge insecurity for Nigeria, with countless cases of kidnappings. The chairperson of Conference of Civil Society of Nigeria, Comrade Adams Otakwe, said despite the efforts by the military to keep the country secured, some citizens exploit the insecurity situation to cause havoc and make money by jeopardizing the lives of Nigerians. As a result, the situation has placed serious economic and financial burden on internal security.
It will be a misplaced demand if we do not treat the problem holistically. Otherwise, we will sack 100 service chiefs and replace 100 service chiefs and would have made no mileage. It will be a rigmarole, one step forward, 3 steps backwards. So we must cooperate with the military. We must cooperate with them fully. They are Nigerians. Everybody's life is at stake.
Commending the military for its tireless efforts in combating terrorism, the organization recommends more equipment for the military and increased civil participation on information sharing.
We urge the civilian populace to work with government and the military so that we can collectively resolve the problem. Definitely we commend Nigerians, we commend government. It is not time for us to trade blames. That is our emphasis.
A combination of all civil society organizations and Nigerians are encouraged to join in the renewed effort to completely surmount insecurity in the country. Obiageli Ugoke, NTA News. In continuation of Operation Rattlesnake, the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Adoli has eliminated some Islamic State of West Africa province ISWAP terrorists and destroyed compounds housing them at Kaza in the northern part of Borno State. The airstrike was executed following credible intelligence reports indicating that some ISWAP elements who relocated from nearby Tongule had set up camp in a cluster of compounds at Kaza along with their logistics supplies. The identified location within the settlement was attacked by the ATF's fighter jets after confirmatory intelligence. The Nigerian police deserves loud encomiums for successfully neutralizing the Ansaru terrorist gang operating along the Birnin-Gwari axis of Kaduna State. According to the Buhari Media Organization, BMO, the nefarious activities of these undesirable elements had reached a tipping point with rampant kidnappings, cattle rustling, banditry and killings along the Kaduna-Zaria Road, Abuja-Lokoja Road and Abuja-Kaduna Road. In a statement signed by its chairman, Niya Kinsiju, and secretary, Cassidy Maduoke, BMO said the bandits had also constituted a serious threat to the security of travelers along these routes and thus generated apprehension and fear among the traveling public. The brutalities of these criminal gangs also extended to the homes, schools and seminaries of law-abiding Nigerians.
The statement said the group therefore commend the Nigerian police for bringing succor to Nigerians with the recent counter-terrorism operation which they carried out and led to the successful killing of some members of the Ansaru terrorist group. Up next is Sports Update.
We begin with basketball, where the Tigresses of Nigeria are set to take on host Serbia on Saturday in the 2020 FIBA Women's Olympic qualifiers at the Alexander Nikolic Hall in Belgrade. The African champions, who inched closer to an Olympic ticket with an 85-55 points defeat of Mozambique on Thursday, will also face the United States of America on Sunday. In football, the Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Sunday Dare, has lauded the efforts of League Management Company in broadening grassroots development in the country, hoping such initiative will be sustained. The minister was speaking at the closing ceremony of the 4th LMC La Liga Coaching Clinic at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium.
This partnership is very critical to sports development. We hope that beyond the Liga, we can get other groups to follow through with this.
Participants at the clinic described the 4-day exercise as rewarding.
I learned a lot from it. It encompasses everything, right from the footballing aspect to the psychological aspect. Actually, it's very interesting and rich.
Still